And welcome back to the Capitol Report on NTD television. The Trump administration warning that millions of Americans could lose federal food benefits within days, all due to the ongoing government shutdown. Well, either party changed their strategy. Joining us now to discuss is national trial attorney and former Democratic speechwriter Madeline Summerville, along with Republican strategist and Marine Corps veteran Kate Monroe. Great to have you both with us. So, Kate, I want to start with you. The Department of Agriculture says it doesn't have the authority to move funds into the food stamp program called SNAP. So what will the impact on Americans be if this program is not funded?
Well, you'll have a lot of very hungry people. It's absolutely absurd to me that these are the people that we use as bargaining chips, active duty military personnel and those that are utilizing SNAP benefits. I don't know how we got here as America, that these are the type of people we like to put on the chopping block, but it needs to stop. They need to open the government up, do what's right by Americans, and then do all of their workarounds behind the scenes when they get back to work. That's what I think they should do, because otherwise you're going to have a lot of people suffering and are rolling in to a season in the holidays, and it's very scary for a lot of families.
Madeline, to Kate's point, how did we get here? Ultimately, in the past, shutdowns, the minority party was the one that had to compromise, and big policy issues, which is sort of the dividing line right now, weren't being stuffed into continuing resolutions.
Yeah, I'd be happy to address that. It's a little bit of a long answer. So here's the thing. The Republicans have framed the reason why the government is shut down as because Democrats want to give healthcare to illegal immigrants and the Republicans won't stand for it. That is not what's happening. Right? There's a certain amount of federal funds that are going to be allocated for healthcare, right? 99.7% of those funds are going to go to American citizens or people who are here legally. 0.03%, so less than 1% of those funds that we're talking about here, the reason why the government is shut down, what we're arguing over, goes to illegal immigrants because when they go to the hospital, and only in cases of emergencies, not if they go for some primary care issue. So the Republicans have framed this as an issue about illegal immigrants, which I find to be very upsetting because the American public doesn't even know what we're arguing about.
Kate, is it just about illegal funding healthcare for illegal immigrants, or is it more bigger picture responsible spending and not getting the country further in debt due to the nature of these tax credits?
I think if you have everybody focused on SNAP, you're losing the bigger picture of us spending millions and even billions sometimes on programs that aren't even for our country, that do not push our agenda forward, that don't help us be safer and prosper more. But it is good and refreshing to hear somebody on the left say that, at least admit to the fact that there are some illegal migrants that will be serviced through this program. And I think that is sort of the point of contention, is that the left is trying to pretend like zero people will be getting any of these benefits when in fact they will. But I don't think that's really the reason that the government is shut down. It's actually not the people on the right pushing this. The people on the right, even President Trump himself has said, I would love to work with you, even to help fix Obamacare, but we need to get back to work. And I agree that we do.
Switching gears just a bit, President Trump today ruling out the possibility of running for vice president. Some people have floated the idea, a Vance Trump ticket, with Vance kind of conceding and giving that if he won to President Trump would get him that third term. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the option. This coming up in 2028, but he didn't explicitly say he wouldn't seek a third term. So Madeline, the president has pondered the idea before. You've seen his Trump 2028 hats, as have the leaders of the Democratic chambers of Congress when they're in the Oval Office. Do you think he's serious?
I do. And I tend to follow what Steve Bannon says because it seems like what Steve Bannon says goes. He did an interview with Politico, I think it was, a few days before President Trump was inaugurated. And he essentially outlined what the first 90 days of Trump's presidency was going to be. And it was spot on. And Steve Bannon said that they are fully intending on going for a third term with President Trump. I think that they will. And I don't think that it's about the Constitution. I don't think it's about that for Trump supporters. And the thing is that if Democrats want to get Republicans on their side, they have to stop playing the rule game, right? This is against the rules. No one cares. They need to start saying things like, what do you value? What are you upset about if Trump has a third term? Does this violate any of your core values? So I hope that the conversation can shift so that we can get to what people really care about.
Kate, Trump 2028, an effective troll or something that we should take serious?
It wouldn't surprise me. The man has quite a lot of work left on the docket that he wants to do. But I think if you look at who he chose for his cabinet, he chose a bunch of, younger Gen X people who are ready to carry the torch. It's an absolute A-list lineup. I think any of them can run on a ticket together and do very well and carry forward the torch. I don't know that he will, depending on how much work he gets done this time, whether he has the appetite to run again. But I think if he ran again, he would definitely have as much support, if not more support, because you got to think the man has not even been in office for 1 year, and we have an almost entirely closed border. We are bringing peace around the world. He's making sure that some of these bigger cities are safer, more people are prospering. The military certainly is seeing its heyday here in this time and space. So I think he's doing a great job, and if the American people want him to run again, he may, but I think there's a good lineup behind him as a backup, no matter what.
Now, another point of contention is redistricting, gerrymandering. Indiana Governor Mike Braun calling a special session to redraw congressional districts back in his home state. Madeline, the president has been pressing Republican governors to draw new maps that could give the GOP more House seats in next year's midterms. Who do you think is going to take the House of Representatives come midterms?
Well, this is a unique issue because not just because I'm from Indiana, all my siblings live there, but because it's occurring at a time, first of all, when it's not regularly happening, right? Redistricting is supposed to happen at certain intervals, and this is not one of the regular ones. But in this state, unlike in some others where Republicans could easily argue that Republicans, they're underrepresented now and they could use a few more seats, in Indiana, it's 7-2 favoring Republicans. So they're already very heavily represented. And still, the Indiana governors jumped on the bandwagon. Let's do what President Trump says. And so it's frustrating because I actually do think that the Republicans will take the House of Representatives. I think that all of the efforts that have been set in place such that Trump will be able to accomplish whatever it is that he wants to do. And if the American people go a different direction, there will be security in every big major city reinforcing whatever the president wants. And I hope that's not what happens, but it's certainly the infrastructure would be there.
And Kate, how do you view the Democrats' efforts to counteract this so far? Is it comparable, or is it more about all of the groundwork that the Democrats have done in previous years to do exactly what Madeline just described as the case in Indiana, in New England states and other states where there's basically, in like the state of Massachusetts, no representation for a state that has 38% Republican?
Yeah, I think on the left, they focus quite a lot on staying in office and figuring out what they have to do to stay in office, and very little to do with the will of the American people and make us prosper more and make us safer. And I think that's why you're seeing this huge dichotomy between the right and the left, and people swaying toward the doers. The doers are on the right. The doers are doing things that they can run on, that they can stand on. They can say, look at our good work, look at our solutions. You should vote for us. On the left, they're just saying Trump sucks and don't vote for anybody on the right. And it's actually sad to hear that when someone thinks that they should redistrict their own state, that we want to diminish their own mental faculties to say that they just did what Trump wanted. I'm sort of tired of hearing that, because people are their own people. Just as when I ran for Congress here in California, I had my own mind, my own solutions. Some of them aligned with Trump, some of them were my own ideas. And to diminish people like that is just uncalled for.
Certainly, and that would be fair if I may quickly.
Sure.
If I may quickly, certainly, and that would be fair if the people of Indiana hadn't already voted. They took a poll and said that they did not want redistricting. So I can see your point there, but the people have spoken.
Kate?
Yeah, I don't think we want it necessarily here in California. Not that it would matter, because this is like the bluest of blue states. Although last time you saw a pretty good red tide pulling over from the east side of California into the west coast, and I expect to see more of that to come. So we'll see how it shakes out. But I do think that we will hold on to the entirety of the decision making for the term that President Trump has set forth.
Madeline, Summerville, Kate Monroe, really appreciate you both coming on. Thank you.